Hello everyone, welcome. It's Alisha Brasher here at Cosmic Gateway. This will be the September 2023 energy update and intuitive insight guidance. So, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm not even going to apologize. This is going to be quite a long video. So, take it in increments if you need to. Stop, go away, get a cup of tea, come back to it at a later time. I feel like there's so much that I want to unpack, and this energy of recording this video has been swirling around me for over a week now. So I feel like it's going to be a bit of a data dump. so, um, First of all, I want to backtrack. I want to talk about a bit of a recap over August because I kind of pulled away from social media throughout August. I was told to sort of go on an inward journey and just really observe and take notice of everything that was happening. Being in the dream realm, the energetics, what's happening in the physical reality, and how that's matching, and how there's such a very fine line between the delay. And what I mean by that is, if we're looking back on this trajectory, that this ascension trajectory that we've been on for many, many years, you know that there's a lag time between intuitive hits, information, something that you've been shown in your dream space, and then when it actually drops into experience. The lag time is almost non existent, which is very exciting because that indicates how far we've come and how that there's a very, yeah, there's very little lag time in between the energetic and the physical realm. So, where to begin? September, when I was preparing to do this video and starting to create, well, actually, when I picked up the materials to do the artwork, the the phrase that dropped in was transcending duality. So September, where I feel like we've already been in that phase or preparing in that phase, but September really is going to be the theme about transcending duality within our own experience and also in the collective experience. And I'll go into a little bit more detail of what I feel that means and represents. But first of all, I as I was finishing up the artwork last night, I thought, oh, I'm just going to Google transcending duality just to see anything that sparks and comes up. And I just want to share two quotes that really resonated. And I think that's something that is so prevalent to take with us in our everyday awareness as we move through not only September, but I think that we're gearing up to move through the end of this year in some very exciting yet dualistic times. So hence the importance of transcending duality within our own experience, because there's always, we know that there's two, well, sometimes more, but let's say there's two levels of this world and reality that are playing out. There's the true organic, and of course, there's the inverted that are playing over each other in overlay. And we have the opportunity at any moment to be able to see through the illusion. So, um, the first one that has come up is to transcend duality means to see beyond the false appearance. And I thought, how perfect for what I'm going to present and what I'm going to be talking about. And this is a Rumi quote, and it says, I have put duality away. I have seen the two worlds as one." So it's being able to maneuver, to be able to see everything as it plays out. And I guess having non-attachment to it and being able to see the different perceptions, seeing the dualistic nature, seeing it through the different lenses, or as I always say, we can always view it from the different perception or lens of dimensional experience. We can see the higher perspective. We can see the one that's in it, that's still stuck in duality, or having sort of false programs or beliefs wrapped around certain experiences that we may go through. So we can come at it from a victim consciousness, or we can come at it from a higher perspective. And, obviously one is a lot more empowering. The other one serves us to be able to go through and learn to grow. And, the two kind of create a friction so that we can springboard into the next step of our own journey and evolution. So I will be presenting a soul journey. I think it's going to be a little bit different this month. I haven't fully put it together, but the details will be in the description box by the time I post this video. It will be just before equinox. I've decided to do this one on the 22nd of September in Australian Eastern Standard Time. So spring equinox is always a highly anticipated event. In my books, I've always felt that that is March and spring, but probably spring more so for me, has always been a huge influx portal where we have this huge quantum potential jump that we go through. This one feels more anticipated than others in previous years. Obviously, there's a lot of talk amongst communities and online around it based on predicted programming and how much this particular equinox or September 2023 has been talked about in movies, TV series of doomsday events. So there's a bit of fear mongering, and I think that's probably one of the reasons or the important reasons why this whole theme around transcending duality has come about, because I think it's important as we move through this phase to be able to hold steady through that, hold our own frequency, be able to have that opening, or how it's coming through now is like holding that pathway and opening into our new earth reality and creational energy, so that we can balance things on this planet. So whew, okay, let's yeah, so the soul journey of transcending duality will be held on Friday, the 22nd of September, and equinox will be on the 23rd in Australian Eastern Standard Time. So I think it'll be a great opportunity to gather and go through that energetic process so that as we move into the actual time of the equinox, we can be holding steady in that beautiful frequency that we've received during that soul journey experience. So I want to go back on the August recap. I've written some notes, but honestly, if I was to talk about everything that has transpired since the last video that I recorded moving into August until now, I think I could be sitting here for at least a week. It has been action-packed, to say the least. So I know in the last video, I think I was talking a lot about the blue frequency that was coming in that represented our human potential. It represents so perceived miraculous events or abilities that we hold dormant that we can actualize. And that definitely amplified moving through the first 2 weeks. As the energy patterns and tones have changed, I have noticed since then, it was almost like the blue was a baseline frequency that was emerging within people. It was coming through a lot in sessions. It was seeing it everywhere. I've heard from numerous amounts of people that the blue, we refer to it as that blue because it has a very specific kind of turquoisey feel to it. It's probably more translucent than that, or iridescent, almost neon-esque type blue. And that was sort of the main thing that I was talking about last video. Since then, we've had new energy patterns and tones move through. There's been a lot of pink coming through, a lot of purple, rainbow, and they feel like they're complementary, and it's bringing through more and more new earth layers of frequencies. That is how I understand and interpret it, is it's being accessed online within us. We already hold that essence, and it's like more of us are coming online, being able to access that, and it's permeating out and rippling out into the collective field. So I'm going to share from my own experience, and hopefully my own experience will translate somehow to help you understand perhaps part of what you might be going through. And it may not resonate. I feel like when August hit, it was a very individual experience. And I realized that what I was going through wasn't necessarily what a lot of people were going through. And kind of kept me in an incubated state. And that's what I was told throughout August is a time of incubation. As we come into September, you're going to have, this was a personal message for me, um, you have going to be able to have integrated that energy more so in the physicality so that you can move them out into the world and kind of transfer or expand that energy, which out into the world where it will be needed at that time. And I think a lot of it has been just being really solid in that, really anchoring in that, and also being at unwavering in that. So I'll talk about what I mean. Um, I believe that those frequencies that are being accessed now are for us to continue to work with as we move through the remainder of this year, 2023. Um, it's part of this neutrality or transcendence of duality that resides within us. It's a wholeness, it is a unity. And another part of the puzzle was that September is going to offer the opportunity of a death or rebirth portal of ourselves, where we'll be birthing a new consciousness onto this planet. And this is happening through us individually, bit by bit, as we move through that phase, as we all hold the individual keys and codes. And each person contributes in their own unique way. Some people are working on sort of birthing and anchoring, other people are planting seeds, but we all, whatever we all offer and bring to the template, to the new grid system, is a beautiful fusion of frequencies and uniqueness, if you will. So, whew, um, for my own experience, it was the entire first 2 weeks of August. I felt like I was living in a whole new reality and very, very different to what the first half of this year has brought through. There was a peace, there was a tranquility, there was an incredible presence of being in the now moment. And anytime I sort of felt my mind wandering or my energy going out too far, instantly I was snapped back into no, be present, be here. Um, which that is where we witness the miracles and can experience this fully at its depth, at its core. And if we're kind of moving into future possibilities or we're, moving around, we're actually dispersing our energy. So we're not in that incubation or holding and accumulating and becoming strong within ourselves. So during that time, what I kept getting was don't go out there. Don't go out there. Don't cast your mind into a trajectory of 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, because based on the level of consciousness that you're holding right now, that's still trying to incorporate within itself, you can't actually comprehend what is to come because you'd be projecting based on a level of consciousness that's still not in unified whole unification. It's not whole in its entirety. So if you're trying to project into a potential upcoming event, it's not going to be based on the reality of what you will be mixing up my words, integrated by that time. And so that's this whole thing of quantum leaping and quantum jumping. And that was a big part of what I was contemplating and considering. I had a long travel at the beginning of the month, and during that, I was sort of ruminating in my mind about this message of focusing on the new earth and kind of moving in that trajectory, but based on a frequency, not of a linear concept. And I was like, I know that it's possible to make these quantum leaps and jumps into different timelines. And I was getting just numerous confirmations coming back and back and back. And I kept putting out the question. I think it's so important to inquire about what we're trying to achieve, or if we have a question of find a solution, throwing the question out there to our higher self and allowing the data to come back to us, because the solutions are always there. They're always available. And if we have that question in our mind, It's probably because the answer is wanting to come through to us. I didn't come to any definitive answer or technique during that pondering, just knowing that it was a potential and that it was a possibility and reality based on other people's experiences and information that I was receiving, that, we can quantum jump into different realities just in an instant, and that changes everything. But it comes down into the frequency embodiment. I believe that when we're holding a high frequency, our reality and perception changes. And so the vast amount of clearing that we've been doing on an individual and collective basis this year is opening up that space and potential for that to occur. So when I reached back home, I noticed instantly I had shifted into a different experience, into a different timeline, and it was this energy that was radiating through me. Well, you probably hear it in my voice. It's grounded, it's solid, it's subtle, and it's that kind of euphoric love, blissful feeling that we've been having hits of throughout the year, but it wasn't stabilizing. It was like coming in and out, in and out. This was almost like a permeation from within, and it was growing incrementally each day. And as that energy started to move through me, I could feel it was very much heart based, and it was almost like it was kind of what's the word? Slowly growing and emanating. And when I could feel into that, things that were coming through was anything and everything is possible. Um, Potentials are unlimited. I can do anything that I want to do. And so I was placing my mind and focus on this curiosity that I've always had, that I feel like we have such incredible abilities that we will be able to actually experience and master in this in between noticeable new reality. I've been talking about the preparatory place before we integrate fully into the new earth. So I'm talking about things like, telepathy, like to its next advanced level. I'm talking about teleportation, bilocation, levitation, um, instant manifestation of materialization and things in front of us. These are the things that have been mastered by so many of the great people that have come before us. And I feel like that's all of our potential, and that's what we're moving into. So while I was pondering on these things, um, I noticed that for a period of a week or so, off and on, I was going into dream space, and it was almost like learning dreams, where I was being given um, access to how to master some of these abilities. And I feel almost embarrassing if I'm just going to say it. There was one morning when I woke up, and it was so, I have no basis, like I've got nothing to back this up on, but I actually felt that I for sure had teleported I had literally dematerialized throughout the night and gone to wherever I was going in that dream space, and then materialized in the morning. And that feeling just sat with me all day, because I was like so sure when I woke up that morning. I was like, oh, I'm back here. But I completely went into a different space. This wasn't just energetically leaving my body. This felt like something completely different. So obviously my mind is still trying to wrap my head around what just occurred. And I feel like that was a fortnight of intense sort of pondering, learning, and working with that energy of infinite possibilities of what I truly think we're moving into, to be able to access and to do. So that phase was very much being present in my own energy experience. And it was a very peaceful, calm. So it's like when you can master being in that, then that's when you open up to a world of potential and possibility. But of course, we live in a world that is very dualistic. So when we're dealing with our shadow, with our daily battles, moving through density clearing, we're not focusing on those things because we're trying to navigate through the gauntlet of our own initiations. And I guess that's the whole game. And there's two parts to that. The game takes us away from, mastering ourselves and having these incredible abilities and experiences that change everything, really. But on top of that, while we're going through our initiations, they are designed and purposeful so that we can shred unnecessary programs and density that hold us back from reaching our full potential. So it works hand in hand. I do definitely feel like during that beginning phase of August was also a dropping of um, victim consciousness, not just duality, but victim consciousness, because in that higher perspective and being embodied in that, you can see everything perfect as it is. There's no confliction or inner confliction or confusion. You can actually just see everything in its perfect nature. But the difference, what I noticed with this experience and the difference to when I've been able to access those states before was the level of groundedness, the level of purposefulness, and the level of discernment too. So I think that incrementally over our ascension pathway, when we go into those huge love frequencies, we kind of leave ourselves a little bit vulnerable and wide open because we haven't truly mastered um, the act of discernment. So this feels like a really important phase that we're moving into and being given the opportunity to access. And I think that's because of we've reached this point over the last, almost decade of working at it individually that especially in the last 3 years, we've learned these higher and higher levels of discernment so that we can not be caught off guard, so that we can't, we're not necessarily vulnerable. And I think that's beautiful. And I think that, the whole pathway was designed to be able to get us to that point. So what actually occurred after I went through that phase was, I think this comes always, you get to access a new frequency within yourself, and then you get put through a test phase, right? Can you hold it? Can you hold it? Can you hold it? And so I think it reached its crescendo point one night, and the energy really was expansive in love and that high level of creational energy. And then obviously the next morning I woke up and boom, my head shifted and changed. And what then occurred and played out over the next few days was this level of very somber energy, very dense energy, very dark energy, feeling as though it was like high level interference energy, and that, the mind just went bananas of, you know, wanting to point the finger, not wanting to take personal responsibility, wanting it to be the blame game, wanting it to be someone else's fault of why I was feeling this way, feeling disappointed that I hadn't been able to move through, and it had dropped. And it felt incredibly restrictive. And it was just what I've learned to label as that's matrix energies, fear, pumping fear, not feeling safe, nervous system going on overload. And I realized that I was being presented an opportunity. I was being tested to see how I could come back into and hold that frequency in everything being thrown at me through the adversity. It grew. It grew for 3 or 4 days. I wanted to go into denial, avoid it, not denial, avoidance. I didn't want to deal with it. I kept trying to like switch my focus to, something positive or, but it wasn't going to leave. I had to face it head on. And I realized many things in this experience is we're no longer allowed to go into avoidance of what we need to move through, because each of those experiences where we're in those thicker, denser energies always has something to teach us. Now, whether that comes through as interference, and there's a lot of that going around at the moment. I'm not going to lie, the amount of people who've contacted me that are going through such intense interference energies coming from multiple sources. That is a real thing. Parasitic energies, entities, parasitic thought programs running absolutely rife. And I do want to talk to these things because this is where we're moving through. Um, and I noticed it, this dialogue in my head, really loud, really, really loud, comes through as your own voice, or it comes through and it tries to divide, to separate, to come in between you and your closest relationships, the people who are closest and nearest and dear. And it plays out, it plays on both parties. And I watched this move through. I have many, for many years, but this was like with new eyes, I think. And so it pings off. It's like a frequency that bounces between two people. And it's always the people who are closest to you. And it makes you want to like walk away or disconnect or end a friendship, a relationship. It wants you to blow up. It wants you to get really angry. Like all those things. And actually didn't react on any of it. I just observed it, observed it, observed it. And the more I observed it, the more it grew within me. On the fourth day, it started off as agitation, irritation, feeling off balance, off kilter. And I allowed it to grow. And as it did, it went from agitation to irritation to I'm really angry right now. It takes a lot for me to get angry, I can tell you, to absolute full blown rage. And I could feel it just brewing in my stomach, and I could feel it rippling through me. And it's been many years since I've been through a process like that. So what I did was instead of I it was like I knew consciously I was being guided to work with it in a different way, to change patterns. And I think that's what we're really here to do. So I sat with it and I was like, I'm going to trace this energy back to its origins. There's obviously, even though I would have identified it as like picking up on other people's energy or interference energy, I was like, well, obviously there's still something, an energy, a code, something within me that is being able to attune and pick that up. And I want to clear that and reprogram that within me so that I'm not going through that again. And I just scanned into my body, felt where it was coming from, felt really deeply into my body of where that was to communicate with that aspect that was like screaming for my attention. And I realized that it was about powerlessness or giving my power away. So I started to recite sort of reclaiming my power in different phrases that were coming in just naturally and intuitively. And I was guided to go back to a time of, and this is what I like to do is pinpoint going back to the origins of when. Go back to the origins of when you felt your power was taken away, the origins of when you felt heartbreak, betrayal, whatever it is, whatever the theme is. Um, and this was so interesting because it really played into a concept that I have been thinking about. I don't know if I've ever spoken about it, but I do more and more. I've been seeing throughout this year in sessions this concept that a lot of us have a very bright energy signature in our soul essence. And when we came into this planet, this incarnation, we were tracked, we were tagged, we were picked up or detected, and we have been, well, for lack of a better word, targeted because of that. We have had many challenges imposed upon us because every time we've got to a precipice of shining our light to its full capacity, something has come in to tip the tables and rattle us. And this concept I've been sort of sitting with, and I've spoken to a few people about it and sort of fleshed it out a little bit more. But I had been getting so many images of souls coming in, lights being detected, and like having implants or frequency chips implanted in our bodies, in our energy field, that was always going to kind of monitor us. And not in the most benevolent ways, let's say. So while going through this experience, I thought to myself, I want to go back to the origins of where I felt my power was taken away. And instantly I was taken to being shown this image of me as a light being, as a soul coming into this lifetime. I viewed it or reviewed it through imagery. And sure enough, saw myself kind of being netted or, closed in on, and my frequency being a little bit tainted from that point. And as I followed it through, there was a lot of childhood, and I'll come back to the childhood component because I think that's been really prevalent, really important. There was a lot of scenarios within my childhood where I feel like my power was taken away, and I was forced into silence, not to talk about it, not to speak up, not to voice my opinion. A lot of like closing off the throat. So in this experience, I went back to kind of change in the quantum field this perspective of being caught in a web before I came in, and changed it so that I like moved through it and I wasn't touched, I wasn't tampered with, my energy remained pure. And what happened was I saw like a silhouette of all these different um, aspects of myself from infancy all the way to my age now. And I saw that how at different ages, how much of my consciousness and energy had been fractaled off into different realities for different reasons, through trauma, through my power being taken away, through situations in my life. And what I did was I brought my energy through all the way through all those timelines of this lifetime, all the different ages of myself back into now, and I merged that energy. I can honestly say that was one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had, because instantly that feeling that had been brewing for days instantly lifted, it dissolved. I was able to re change the code within myself, and instantly I could feel clear. I could feel my higher self speak to me. I felt the higher energies. I felt more back into myself. And that has then now sort of kind of started to formulate into its own technique. And that's why I love when we go through experiences and ask the question of like, how can I resolve this? And learning to work with our higher self, because we'll get very specific techniques, journeys, things that we're asked to do that are unique and individual for ourselves. And that is nothing I was ever taught. It just came through naturally. And now I feel like I can help facilitate a version of that for other people if it's relevant. So instantly that shifted and changed a lot. And going back, a day or two later of this whole interesting concept of the different vantage points, the different perceptions, right? I could hear this dialogue of my higher self talking to me and explaining, you could view that as you were tracked, you were trapped. That's one narrative. But what's in the other narrative? The other narrative is, from a higher perspective, you knew that was going to happen. That was intentional. That was purposeful. And that was so that you could really get into the matrix to experience what it's like with all the distortion, the layers, all the fuckery, basically, so that you could change the code and be the glitch, for yourself and, for your wider, greater mission, and know what that's like so that you can help, unravel people. And I was like, how perfect is that? And how much more empowering perspective is that. So these are this is just, I know this is getting long, but I just really wanted to share that because that was such a pivotal moment and experience for me. And I love going through those processes because it opens up so much more. Um, okay, so going back to the whole childhood thing, going back and healing the inner child has been quite a amplified theme, especially through August. What I've noticed, and I think one of those reasons is because our childhood essence is the one that is in wonder before life gets too convoluted over the top of us. The inner child is the one who trusts. The inner child is the one who has access to these unique abilities that we hold. So it almost feels like this process of all the clearing, we're going back to our original form, which then allows us to access that again. um, so really important to work with the inner child if you feel that that's a component that is calling, and to not deny that call. um, just going to take a pause because there's so much more that I want to share. Mm. So yeah, reclaiming our abilities, our wholeness. On a soul level, I feel what is occurring, especially through dream space, is there is this soul integration that is happening that has been in progress, probably most of this year, I would say. All of our parallel realities, all of our fractaled consciousness, wherever it's bouncing around, whatever it's doing, is all coming back home into one singularity. And that's a big job. So what I've been noticing, or you may have been noticing, is just so many dreams of potential other realities that didn't play out that have been playing out. And as we're dreaming about them, I believe we're closing them off and regaining pieces of ourselves. I don't know how long that process is going to take. At times, I feel like it's in completion and then there's another round of it. So it's just something to be mindful and patient of. Especially in August, there's been a lot of past relationships, close connections, relationships, romantic connections have been highlighted theme, obviously, because we've had Venus in retrograde. So that's been a big part of the clearing, but it's also going back into childhood too. And people, I've noticed this the kind of 20-year theme predominantly that has been occurring are people who were in my life back then, or scenarios, jobs, things like that. Really random stuff, but it feels like that's just this process of bringing it back. And sometimes it's quite nice, and sometimes it's really dense, and there is no sort of themes to it at the moment. One thing that I've noticed is, there's this message that I was getting in the beginning of the year um, that my consciousness was separated into two parts, and that I would have to basically deal with that until we went through this kind of bigger consciousness shift on the planet. And at that point, there would become this unity and wholeness. And those two dualistic parts, if you will, would integrate into the one single timeline into my physical body. Um, and it's working and it's building towards that. And I've really sat with that for trying to work it out in a more kind of linear time, or like a more logical thinking, which it's not meant to, And it's like, which part of me, is, and it's like the shadow, the light, the dark, the higher, the lower, where I think it's just a mix up, it's a mashup. What I have noticed in a tangible, noticeable difference is that probably for many years when I felt like I was out on dream missions, working in like clearing frequencies and things like that, gridding, that aspect of me in the multidimensional realm that was working, if it was in a higher frequency, I would notice that I would, in this reality, feel the polar opposite. So if I was in, say, New Earth, I would wake up and I would feel really dense here. And vice versa. If I was in clearing dreams, I would wake up, I would feel much better and vibrant here. I've noticed now that it's almost like it's not the polar opposites anymore. It's actually, they're becoming closer and closer aligned, because it's like whatever happens and plays out in the dream space feels like there's a flow on effect, a noticeable flow on effect that happens throughout the day. So that's been intriguing for me. And I love to watch these little things play out. So that's still in progress, at least for me. And I think that's sort of come through as a theme in many sessions, and many people have talked to me about they have that feeling that that is also occurring within their own experience as well. I've also had a huge amount of New Earth dreams, really beautiful, um, feels so in the now. It feels so more tangible, accessible, closer, if you will. And one of the main points that I'll share from one of the dreams was that I was asking that I had been in the space of the New Earth, and I had come back to my childhood home to see my family. And then I was planning to go back there. And I asked the question in the dream, and I said, how do I get back there now? And instantly I heard through the heart. It was very simple. It just said through the heart. When I looked down and I looked at my heart space, there were all these streams of pink energy that were like woven energy threads that were unified, which goes back to this unification of all the timelines converging, molding into one. And it was like that was where you access it. So I've always believed that many of us will be able to maneuver back and forth between the two realities in a much more conscious way, and I feel like we're moving towards that. So there's some really exciting stuff on the horizon when playing in these frequencies. But I still feel like we're moving through some very bumpy and turbulent territory as well as a collective. So I think it's really important that we stay in our, as much as we can, stay in our unity space or in our heart space. And if we can't access that, look at why that is and keep working or chipping away at whatever is coming up. This focus that I've been shown is like focusing on New Earth and that trajectory, and just bringing, it's really about zoning in and focusing on that being the most prevalent focus or focus or highlighted point of almost taking up the most dominant part of your consciousness. And that's by no means spiritually bypassing, because I think that when we're focusing on that, or at least how it was shown to me, was like when we're focusing on that higher path and timeline, that trajectory, and that's our primary focus, whatever we need to work through, the obstacles that need to come through to us, need to that they will come up anyway. They'll be shown, they'll be highlighted. So I want to actually backtrack, because I realize there's two more things that I haven't shared that I wanted to share just a little bit of. Going back to that process that I talked about of reclaiming my power, my energetic power, there was a lot that unraveled then in physical reality, in terms of like my nearest and dearest, and me taking a different approach than what I would have in the past, and being really proud of myself that I was changing the pattern and doing things differently. After that, I also got a download that from here on out, the importance on energetic hygiene is utmost important within us, around us, our home, our environment, on a daily, because of the energetics that we're moving through, and keeping in that clear space. So I did a big, 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 big clearing in the home. And while I was in the process of doing that, um, I got this aspect of my future self and someone else who's very close to me, who we were kind of moving through that together, higher self drop in. And I was told that the auditors or the assessors were going to come that evening. I had no idea what that meant. I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about actual people? Is this a spiritual thing? I was like, no, no. It was like at night, at nighttime. The funniest thing was I had forgotten about that. And that evening, the same future aspects dropped in and sort of materialized in my right here in my living room. And it was just a short, simple message. And it was basically like, you're now remembering and accessing the pathway of moving through into your future self right now. You've already been through this. You're actually just moving through the play of the movie and navigating it, and know that you're always being guided through that. The tests, the challenges, the initiations, whatnot, but you're actually navigating through that. It was very, very simple, very beautiful. But what I realized in that moment was, and laughing about the auditors or the assessors that were coming in to like note going through that initiation, and if I had passed the test, and the checklist and the clipboard that comes with that, I realized I was just being assessed by myself. There was no external being or man in a suit, or however you would want to visualize that. And I thought, how beautiful and how poetic that I'm just simply assessing myself through this phase. So the final piece that you can see there's been so many so many insights and experiences that have come through. But this process of reclaiming or soul merging all our different aspects from all different timelines integrated into one, I was being shown an energetic field of all these different colors, specks, energy, almost like orbs or spheres that have almost come in. So it's almost like, if I was to interpret that, it feels like a lot has come in, but they haven't connected or solidified. Um, and I know that we've been having huge influxes of energies that are coming in, and it feels like you can't grasp, you can't intellectualize, you can't understand it, you can't formulate, you can't speak it. It's just there. And it feels like what is occurring for a lot of us is that a lot of the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that we need for our own path or own mapping, if you will, is already there and being activated within us. It's just now this process of connecting all the dots so that we can see the map and the picture. So I have been given really interesting insight into the unfolding over the next 3 months, 2 to 3 months. I'm not going to go into it because I don't have specific details. I have been shown timeframes, and what I can sort of share in a very general sense is the importance of what I've been talking about in this transcending duality within us, and how important it will be for our own individual experience to hold and maintain that. And when we're not in alignment with that, being gentle and gracious with ourselves, being compassionate with ourselves, identifying that we're not, and just asking the question of what is it that I'm learning through this? What is it that I'm seeing? What is it I'm alchemizing? You know, however you want to interpret it, whether it's your own process, a collective process, or both. If you're experiencing a particular energy, you obviously have the tools to alchemize it, whether it's for your own deeper access or layer, or whether you've already been through that motion and the collective are moving through it and you have the tools to alchemize to come back into neutrality. I mean, I truly believe that ascension is about withstanding and coming back into that grounded space of neutrality. And I think that's a beautiful place that is now being accessed by many of us, or it's there for the taking. So I feel like there's so much more that I could go into, but I might just wrap it up and leave it at that point. So that process in itself, of course, if you'd like to join me on the soul journey this September 22nd, I would love for you to come and be a part of that. And I think it's important that we hold strong throughout the next couple of months because I think what is occurring in real time right now is that there's a lot of light coming through from the sun, from people switching on, people really activating their light and accessing that, which is creating this polar um, light and dark. And I think the external world is going to get really loud. The global, I think we're set up for the global main, the main screen arena of the center stage is going to be exposing a lot of things um, over the next couple, and it feels like very hard and fast and moving through many phases very quickly, which of course is going to create a lot of cognitive dissonance, but it is ultimately a catalyst for a wake up as we kind of reach this tipping point, which I feel is coming towards the end of the year, a splitting. And I think I won't go into it now, but if you've been following my work since last October, November, I talked a lot about um, a timeline splitting of reality that I went through. And I feel like that was a preparatory phase for what is being offered to many more people to move through that experience if you want to get on the train. So I feel like we're in this prep time for that. Um, and it's inviting and it's exciting, but it's not to say that it doesn't come without challenges. And I think my heart extended to those who are experiencing challenging times. I see it. I see it within a lot of you. I know that what people are moving through is life changing and huge. So even though I talk about what's being accessible at this time, I like to paint the picture of what we can access and as we're moving through this, because I know that a lot of us are tired, worn out. It's been a exhausting year of moving through a lot in a very quick space of time. But it's not in vain. It's not for nothing. So I just want you all to know that. We are moving through some pretty serious, interesting energetics that have very similar energetic overtone and astrological alignment that we had for 2015, 8 years ago. We are moving out of that cycle. A lot of the downloads and impressions that were given in that beginning of that cycle are actually playing out now in physical reality. Um, and I feel like as we move through that, especially we've got the blue moon in Pisces, and then obviously the Venus retrograde and the nodes that have changed. It's those energies that feel very prevalent that I'm starting to notice this pattern and trend of what I was on the precipice of 8 years ago. So many people are on that precipice right now, and that is life changing experiences of abrupt endings, changes in work, relationship, job, um, having profound spiritual ahas, knowing that there's something bigger than yourself that is calling you, but you don't know what it is. And that's okay because your brain couldn't fathom it at this point. But you're asked to each day walk towards that reality, walk towards that, embrace that, and be in the unfolding. So, all right, that's enough for my energy update. I think I've been going on probably about an hour. So that's about it. We'll start to move into the intuitive guidance insights. So this is, oh, I have three artwork that I have been working on for September. So you can choose, this will be A, but I'll just go through them. This is artwork A. This is B, and I feel like this one will be the imagery for the transcending of duality soul journey. That one feels very powerful. And then, of course, we've got C here, so artwork C. So just take it in, tune in to whichever one feels like it's speaking to you. And of course, you know, it might be more than one. Often there is overlays. But let's move into, hey, shall we? All right. So this one here. There we go. I'm just going to tune in as I start to shuffle the cards and just feel like, oh, just allow yourself to relax into the energy. There's actually a lot of energy that's streaming through right now as I through that particular piece of art and the frequencies. I can actually hear a lot of sound, a lot of light language, a lot of what feels like galactic frequencies coming through. Galactic or higher dimensional beings, interdimensional beings. There's a whole council that's just stepped in. Well, okay, I don't often go there, but hey, here we go. These are what I would refer to as future self beings. So as soon as we start this journey for the insights for September, what I will say is the future aspect of you, the higher self, or what I would call the not so far distant future, that's a mouthful, the not so far future aspect of yourself wishes to make contact directly with you. There's a lot that wants to be shared in very specific details to show you what very it's like a fine tuning to show you pieces of the puzzle that you have been missing. I actually hope that you're getting it through this transmission of this this reading. I'm being shown that there are two things that you've been stuck on with not being able to fully comprehend or understand that have happened in your experience this lifetime. I'm actually seeing them as like radio tune radio buttons tuning into frequency. There's two things that you haven't been able to fully pick apart and make sense of, which it's like your future self wants to make contact with you in some capacity so that it can shine a light on you having full comprehension, understanding of those two specific sequence of events that seemingly feel unrelated, but they're not. They're actually they're interwoven, intricately interwoven together, which will then be able to allow you to access more understanding of yourself, your true nature and who you are. And it might even open up then the gates for future dialogue. Or a stronger connection to that higher self, future self, however you want to put it, your own guiding consciousness. But yeah, that council or team feel like it's comprised of about 12 different beings. And it's like they all want to sit at the table and talk to you. One is you, but the other is connected to your soul group and soul family. So it wants to actually strengthen your connection with others through this experience. And it may be through misunderstandings, perhaps, but it's almost like wanting to call in and pull in higher aspects of other people who are connected to you strongly in your soul group. It could be relationship, partnership, friendship. It could also be, for some, this might be individual, someone that you haven't met yet that's coming into your life who will play an important role for you. So it's like through that structure of the 12, being able to dialogue with maybe not all of them, maybe just some. But there's like, yeah, for some people, there's someone of great importance or significance that's coming in. So it's like being able to connect and dialogue, whether it be in dream space or meditation or through the shower, however it comes through to you, being able to chat with them, they're going to help give you guidance of how to connect in down here in this physical realm. Interesting. I knew that card was going to come up because I saw it before I hit the record button. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so take this opportunity, even if you want to like right now hit the pause button and just go into that space and make that connection that it feels like it's very strong and it wants to come through. I can feel so much. Oh, I can feel all the sound and the coding, that frequency of light language. It's like coming, I can feel it flowing through me, out through my heart, and just into this guidance reading. Wow, I don't think I've ever experienced that before. All right. I almost feel like the cards are almost insignificant at this point. Really beautiful. They also want to congratulate you in honoring the hard work that you've done to this point. Like that feels really important to honor and take stock of like how far you've come and just that reflection piece on, wow, you did it. You moved through absolutely. Um, I'm just trying to find the right words for it. It's like you move through what would be considered unattainable, impossible, um, being put in incredibly hard circumstances and being able to maneuver your way out of that. And it's like a reminder for you now to cast your mind back to the times where you have been put in a tight spot, come out of it as almost like a recognition of, yeah, just look at how far you've come to regain your energy and strength as you move through this month. And it's those reflection pieces that is going to help bolster you up and keep strengthening you bit by bit, day by day. So it's like as you make a stronger connection to this group of beings, I'll just refer to them as a group of beings. Um, they want to help strengthen and support you, but also to either journal or do a reflection piece of all the challenges that you've been able to move through and how proud you should be of yourself of moving through that. And just reflecting on all that you've accomplished is really going to help rebuild and gain your strength to move forward. So the first card that came out is the Strength card. So look at that heart. Look at that. To me, that's like building that strength in love, in respect, in no, the word dignity wants to come through. And it's a redefinition or redefining. So courage and opening the heart. So real focus and emphasis on whatever maybe the fine tuning those pieces were is going to be able to help unblock whatever obstacles or obstructions may still be lingering within your heart space, to be able to do that work and to hold yourself in that womb of creation. And that's what's coming through, because this card came through in my mind before I sat down and recorded. So it's the Moon card. So it's the yearning and desire. And I feel like that's connected to for that individual message of that person that's coming in, I feel like sitting in that space, almost like in the womb of creation, and calling in that piece that you feel is missing or coming in, that it's a heart-based yearning, but it's actually a soul call too. And that's going to help start to bring in this person or people, however that looks for you. And it's through the heart. It's a call through the heart. So it's first of all fine tuning or getting very clear on past circumstances so that you can build yourself up, go into the heart space, do an analysis, do your own check in, look at what is still lingering in there, how you can tidy that up and rework your own frequency to kind of be able to harness or access more self love, um, trusting your own abilities, trusting in your capabilities. And it's through that you're then able to access this beautiful stream of frequency, like a love portal that is kind of this shows me time out. This is time to go into meditation or into energetic space where you can go through your own sort of revitalization or rebirth. And it's in that place that you're like calling in your heart's desires, wishes. It could go in moon cycles if you follow that, not necessarily. Um, but I'm being called to share a story. So, okay. The last blue moon, or the 8 year ago that I was referring to in the energy update, I went through this process of calling in. Well, I was going through an evaluation of my life, what I wanted, what I didn't want, and what I was calling in. And I got very confused on the details because halfway through it, I was like, I think that my mind's getting in the way of what my soul wants. My human's really in the way of the higher calling, and I can't possibly perceive what's on the other side of that. And so in that moment, I kind of dropped the list of the specific manifestation doing my full moon ritual thing. And I had this moment of like dialoguing with the divine and just saying, I actually don't know which way to go. I don't know what's in my highest good in terms of specifics. I actually need help in guidance. I need divine intervention. And I called it in, and literally my life went boom, 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 boom. It was very fast and radical. And I feel like I needed to share that for someone, for whoever. And it doesn't have to be in such a diabolical situation per se. It just feels like in the calling in, leave room for asking the higher self to step forward and, surrendering to the fact that maybe your human may be getting in the way or doesn't know the full details or bigger picture, and that you may be limiting yourself potentially if you're trying to manifest from that more linear, like I was talking about, not going quantum. um okay, where are we? Yeah, so going into that incubation, into that meditative space, and really sitting within your heart's desire and calling in. And it may not be specific, it's like a frequency that calls in. It's almost like you activate or turn on something within you that starts to vibrate. It starts to work as like a magnetic charge pulsating. And it's almost like it's like a calling to another person or other people that are going to start to come in and around. So when we go through these processes, or any process for that matter, I don't know about you, but I get impatient because I believe where I come from, there's like instant manifestation. And I think a lot of us come from that place, and we kind of get frustrated because of the lag time, even though the lag time is becoming a lot more non-existent or less. It used to be years. Now it's kind of down to months, days, or weeks. But it's like being patient when you're calling in such a big process. Just be in the in between for that moment and know that it might rearrange things, that there might be this creating space in your life. It might require you to clear out things like cleaning out your home or cleaning up your energy field, rearranging dialogue of how you talk to, however that looks, but going into the hangman. So there's a waiting and suspense period. And look, interestingly enough, there is this one person, two people coming in to connect. So just allow yourself to maneuver through the suspense, the waiting, and know that just because it may not be tangibly accessible in that moment doesn't mean that it's not waiting in the wings. It's not occurring, it's happening. And just being playful in the moment, holding that vibration, doing all the things that you can do in your personal space or home, and staying in that almost joyful, playful, childlike energy, dance, sing, create, or clean, or, whatever it is that is calling you in that in between space, and make it productive for you. Because the feeling or sense that I have around that is like, make the most of that time, because you're not probably gonna not get a lot of more downtime. You're not gonna get a lot of waiting and suspense time. When things start to get on the move, it's gonna boom, boom, boom. There's like this fireworks. I almost feel like explosions happening of a lot of fast-paced movement that then starts to push forward. So following on that, we have the star card, hope, inspiration, nature or nurture. Star card is the divine wish, wishing upon a star, allowing it to physically come into manifestation, materialize within your own experience. This is part of your divine destiny. This is like bringing that in. So it's a perfect, beautiful blend of what is starting to transpire. And this is the direct result of you doing your own inner work, clean up, and paying attention to the signs, and maintaining your own sort of integrity and sovereignty. The message that comes through with that is you've always maintained your own integrity and sovereignty, even though it may not have felt like that at times. Remaining true to yourself is what has got you this far. And to acknowledge that, yeah, there's a lot of acknowledgement, a lot of information that wants to come through to really acknowledge just how far you have come. Feels really good, actually. The energy of this one feels really good. I almost want to say by the 15th, 16th, it feels like there's a lot of movement around you. So whether you're actually getting out and about more, or traveling or moving, 15th, 16th feels like that's halfway through the month, right? On the go. A lot of movement. Okay, so we have positive energy and self-employment. Okay, cool. So as I was like tuning into that specifically around the 15th, 16th, positive energy. So around yourself with positive people, situations, avoid negativity. Okay. Choose your own frequency, choose your own adventure. This to me just feels like being mindful, discerning, and selective, and perhaps it is calling in those people as an amplification of your own positive frequency that is emitted. And it's not necessarily, I mean, we can't avoid negativity. Well, maybe we can. I don't know. But it's just being discerning of picking and choosing where you want to spend most of your attention time. It's like picking and choosing your focal points. Because as you're connecting with those who may be on a similar path or mission, there's an amplification that's happening. So it's like, just be mindful and aware of what's happening on the periphery of those that may not be in the same resonance, how that energy may be acting as a catalyst or triggering. So it's like, don't take on any sort of projection or energy that may be dancing around the periphery at that time. Just stay focused on your own focus, your intention, and what you're working on connecting with or creating. So then we have the self-employment card. You're a born entrepreneur. Your business is surrounded by magical opportunity. I love that. It's so magical, these cards. Or they are the magical mermaids and dolphins. But hang on. There we go. Just trying to get in that imagery just a little bit there. So potentially there is a spark of creative passion, creative movement, creating something that will feels like a group or community project. This line may not be for everyone, but I just feel like there's many people are involved. So it may be your own business, starting up your own business, your own venture, but it feels like it's working with community to some capacity, whether that's working with others on that project or you're actually servicing or being in service to the community. That feels quite nice, actually. So there might be opportunities around mid-month for you to opportunities opening up. I feel like you're probably already working towards something or at least have the idea in your mind. It's just going to a bit more leverage coming through to actualize that. Okay. So we have the Unity card. Traditional viewpoints, methods, spiritual organizations seek out mentors or like-minded friends. There's a very common theme that's weaving in there, isn't there? And 5 is obviously the catalyst for change. There's something about foundations for community, your own building your own new earth community, ideas, innovations, setting out the foundation, the groundwork, and work. Yeah, so I guess it's really important for that dialogue of being able to connect with those beings, those light beings, or that council, because it feels like they are the representation, the higher version representation, the higher representation of the people who are actually down here. So it's like the higher aspects are working with the human aspects as time is drawing closer to actualize this, to birth this creation. So we have the Queen of Earth, and that, yeah, okay. This thoughtful, creative, warm, sensible. This feels like a very grounding, stabilizing energy. So I feel like you or one of the chosen people that you're collaborating or working with feels like a real anchoring stabilizer. Because it feels really important to ground and anchor that magic in an earthly fashion. And instantly I'm like coming through like, people, we've got different types of people. We've got the visionaries and we've got the ones who work with the higher concepts and knowing what your forte is. And then if you aren't one of, if your specialty isn't anchoring or grounding, either mastering in that, learning from someone to help you do that, or working with someone who can help act as an anchor or a stabilizer. Because it feels like there's an energetic template of this business or project or community that already is fully formed in the ethers and it just wants to find a place to ground so it can be actioned. I mean, I'm hearing the if you build it, they will come. So I think that might be speaking to any doubt that you might have about, is this too big? Am I taking on too much? Is really achievable? it's like speaking to the inner critic that may doubt. It's like putting that doubt aside, and it's like if you get to the point where you're able to actualize and create something, the people will be drawn to that like a beacon, like a lighthouse. I think we're moving through some very confusing times for the wider population, and I think a lot of people will be seeking refuge in trying to understand what is actually occurring. So keep that in mind too. I wanted to pull one. What are these? Animal voices, children's cards. I've pulled the snow leopard, and I was just going to see if there's any other, but there's nothing else coming out. So we've got the snow leopard, number 10, mystery and sensitivity belief. Get that into focus. No. Two. There we go. You get that? There we go. Aren't they beautiful? Little cub mother. I'm actually going to look up the book because I very, very seldomly work with these cards. So I couldn't tell you much more about snow leopards. The message. The snow leopard comes to you. She brings a message that you're a very unique person with your own special ways of doing things. And that's just how it's supposed to be. Sometimes it's wonderful to be with friends and those we love. Sometimes it feels even better to spend some time alone. When we are by ourselves, our energy grows and our dreams blossom inside us. When we come back together, we bring these fresh ideas with us. How perfect to wrap up and summarize that reading. It may be very people busy oriented type of month, especially when you get to the second part, but also the importance of having your own downtime, taking rest and rejuvenation to be in your own energy so that you can be as clear as possible and not, when you work with people, often your energies merge and it can become very overwhelming at times, perhaps if you're energy sensitive, or it's like this merging happens where you don't know where your energy and thoughts start and theirs begin and vice versa. So through that, just allowing that downtime just to the pockets of coming into your own energy, and recuperating for yourself so that you can go back out stronger and with more insight. I hope that has helped. I am doing individual sessions for this month, so if you feel like you'd like to connect with me or join the Equinox Soul journey, all the details will be in the description box below. If not, I'll see you next month. All right. Whew. So that was A. Now we're going to move into B. So this artwork here, can't really get the colors properly, but there we go. We're trying. What have we got in store for you, B? September. I can't believe we're here in September. I've got the lyrics running around my head as we open up. This is very different energy. This energy feels a lot more grounded, nature, immersed in nature. And I'm hearing that song One Day in September. We want to remember. I don't know the rest of the words. I don't even know what song it is. One Day in September. We want to remember. Oh, okay. There's a lot coming through as I tune into that. I'm going to see if I can bring up the rest of the lyrics as I'm. One Day in September song. It's yeah, I thought so. It's connected to the AFL, the AFL Grand Final. Yeah, okay. Which is Australian football. For those who don't know what AFL is, it's our. I just want the lyrics. That's where it was coming from. Let me just find the lyrics because I just want that very specific. Anyone who wants to look up the entire song, it's called One Day in September, Mike Brady. Okay. Because there's one day in September we want to remember there isn't any doubting, we'll be in there shouting. Okay. There's probably some more. It's interesting. It's all about football. So I remember that song because when I was a kid, I used to be on the AFL on the big oval in the halftime performance as one of um the dancers. So there was like thousands of us, and so that's where the I haven't thought of that song literally in decades, and that keeps wanting to keep coming through. Uh, but the message, I guess, there's a context and there's a message that wants to come through around that. The 26th of September is going to be a very significant date for someone or some people watching. It's a date where you're going to very unexpectedly come across a serendipitous encounter, meeting, connection, or have a profound experience that I all it's a big call. This is such a big call. I don't even want to say it. That is going to be utterly life changing. There we go. I said it. So this one day in September, um, I think all I want to say to that is if you have an invitation to go somewhere that is unlikely, that potentially you wouldn't normally go to, consider that because there might be a world that awaits. There's a world out there waiting for you to connect with. My frequency sounds going nuts. Through the most unlikely circumstances, there's a whole new world awaiting. It's almost like, wow, that's a lot of emphasis on big expectations and dates. Please feel into your own intuition around that. But it feels like whatever it is, whenever it is, there could be a time range, it could be second part of the month, it could be around equinox. Just allow that's a portal or a gateway into opening up to having a very new experience or way of being, way of operating, moving through your life. It feels like that's like, when you look back on your pathway and you can pinpoint like exact moments of like, wow, that kind of changed. It's a choice point, a trajectory. And it feels like that's what's coming through for you for this month. Still laughing. I've got AFL songs running through my head, but I guess there's a meaning behind that. I'm trying to shuffle, nothing's coming through. All right, I'm going to switch decks and see what else wants to come through. Okay, so I'm seeing an image of a ghostly figure, like literally a cartoon-esque Casper, Casper the Friendly Ghost. What's that about? Okay, moving through your fear and being able to work more with the spirit realm, the energetic realm. Because it feels like unless it's specific for someone about Casper. One of the other messages that wants to come through is like breaking down fear thresholds because the spirit realm or energy realm, interdimensional realm wants to work more closely with you, but because there are some thresholds around fear or maybe not so much fear but unknown, it's kind of blocking, or you're having fear filters overlaid of experience that you're having that is actually not as you're perceiving it. I feel like there's a body of work that wants to come through, someone tapping into mediumship abilities, being able to speak with departed loved ones, and that start taking on a new career. Sorry, these are going to be really specific messages. I feel like as I'm shuffling, it's not quite general, it's whatever wants to come through. Mm. Mm. Okay. Yeah, someone working with mediumship abilities to start working with friends and family first, because I feel like there's someone in the middle of, it's almost like within your profession, your current work profession, there's a lot of people transitioning, which is then creating these experiences where you're having a lot of um, beings want to communicate and connect with you so that you can be the messenger and relay it. But I feel like you're feeling underskilled or unequipped to be able to deal with that because it's new for you. Find yourself a mentor or ask for a mentor to be shown, because it feels like your work is going to be changing because you are the link between all these people. And that's why you're kind of being asked to do that and start with the friends and family or colleagues. It's going to be something that you do on the side, and that's going to grow quite quickly. So, whoever that's for, love to hear from you. All right, what have we got here? We've got the Strength card, number 11. We've got Justice card, number 8. We have the Eight of Fire and the King of Air. All right, so let's break it down. We've got Strength, Justice, Strength, Justice. Okay. Strength and Justice. So great inner strength, release harsh judgments, forgiveness and compassion, and then justice, fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. Okay, I just want to feel into that for a second. This could be for I almost want to say that there's like a tipping point, a final judgment, justice. There could be something that's playing in this. It could be legal matters that are pending, or something that you might feel is unfair or unjust that has been moving through your experience, waiting on an outcome, waiting on hearing, waiting on resolution, perhaps. I feel like it's going to be a very positive result, but it feels long and drawn out. Um, the guidance in and around that is, oh, my throat. All of a sudden, my throat's been blocked and locked up. So, first of all, unblock whatever is like holding or restricting within your throat. I almost feel like this wants to go back to past life energies, or yeah, restrictive energies around past life themes, childhood, or a recurring pattern that stems back quite a while. I'm actually seeing a horse, like a knight on a horse, and someone having like a sword put to their throat. So it's almost like this intense fear of speaking the truth or standing up because of being, threatened by life or death. Isn't that, isn't that like the greatest um, fear that a lot of us hold, of speaking up because of fear of persecution or death? I think most of us like light workers or souls on this planet who are here to spread light have had an experience of that. So it may be allowing yourself to come into being able to release that and regain your strength. But it feels like regaining your voice is important to be able to stand up so that the justice can be um, told. The justice, it's like do by doing your part, playing your role, moving the energy, taking on what you need to by being able to. Mm, there's a word that wants to come through. Hold your own. No, it's more than that. Speak eloquently, acquittal, I don't know what that word is. Speak. Maybe it's something to do with acquit. There's a word that's like on the tip of my tongue, but I don't even know. Give me another image. It feels like you've been through some sort of personal initiation or trial by fire that's coming out the other end. So I'm seeing there's some sort of, you feel like giving up, you feel like quitting, but there's like a resolution just on the verge of that. And it feels like you've been walking over hot coals and you're finally on the green grass. This is the imagery that's coming through. And it's like then being able to drop the burdens that you've been carrying. But it's like going back to playing your part is finding your own inner strength with your voice. And it's probably what this test or challenge that you've been going through on your own personal level. And it's helped you release judgments of self and others and to really dig deep with forgiveness of self and others to soften you, to bring in a more compassionate component and to help you make greater sense of the world at large. Hmm. Okay, that feels like there's so much compacted in that. It feels like that's sort of the first part of the month. So you may be doing this kind of inner work or reflective piece. I also feel quite tired when I feel into that energy. I feel we're worn down and exhausted. So take that time for rest if and when you can. All right, let's see what the other two cards are bringing up. I feel like I've bounced around a lot, so there's probably a lot of individual messages here. We've got the Eight of Fire, so events moving fast paced, delays are over, many things happening at once. Also, oh, awesome. And then we've got the King of Air. So, excellent, brilliant, impartial, professional, diplomatic. Speak your mind with confidence, seek out professional advice, balance mental and emotional consideration. So, it feels like, yeah, things, if they have been not moving, by being able to do that inner work of like releasing whatever's like being held within the throat for you, starts to release the energy, things start to move quite quickly. Um, and so it moves into, even if it's not the entire completion of it, it moves into a new phase that's going to require you to really be able to speak in this elegant way of your truth, your mind, holding yourself strong in that balanced place to ensure positive solutions coming through. And this could just be your own personal trial by fire. It may not necessarily be external legal or justice, but it could be. I mean, it's going to be individual. Take it how it resonates for you. Oh, we got the Two of Cups coming in. Loving union, teamwork, balance, partnership, a balancing of masculine and feminine. Oh, the light exploded. Beautiful. Okay. I almost feel like there's an ease. It's like, feels like a tight squeeze and then a release. It's like, oh, I did it. Now I get to enjoy and revel in other aspects of my life that are meaningful, beautiful, rewarding. Family, home, friends. Goodness. Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of I see family time, time at home. Oh, we've got the nine of coins. So we've got financial windfall, good fortune, opportunities, or opening up pathways to have more of abundance or prosperity coming in and flow. So yeah, that just ties into the theme of what I'm feeling into. There's this like dinner celebration, but it's not like a big party. It's like spending time with your precious loved ones. Um, Low key but meaningful. We also have the Emperor, so masculine influence and power. When I look into that card, I always see that as a strong, obviously masculine presence, but I also see that card as like a being in your own inner strength, calling back your own personal power and feeling more like yourself. So it may be that you've gone through your own personal challenges and battles that hasn't allowed you to fully feel like yourself. You know, when you go through things and you just feel like a um, a watered down version of yourself, and it feels really important that this process of coming back into your essence, into your personal power. And it feels like the loved ones around you, your family, friends, or partner, it feels like they help um, bring you back more into into that good energy and feeling. I might go choose some other cards. We'll go to the mystical mermaids. I saw the magical mermaids. Those ones didn't really want to play. Okay. Ooh, divine magic. All right, excellent. So I feel like we're moving into the second half of September now. With a lot of different energies. Divine magic, extra magic energy surrounds your situation right now. Expect miracles. I've actually placed that over the justice and the strength cards. So whatever you're going through that requires strength and karmic ramifications or justice or balance coming back in, be really open to the divine supporting you and moving through that. It goes back into that thing of don't think logically, think quantumly, allowing possibilities that you could even perceive, allowing opening for that to come in and take place, allowing, yeah, like a divine consciousness to work through your situation, help support you based off the insight that you can gain in really getting the most out of what the learning is for you. It's like once you get that, it feels like, you know, things move fast. And that defining moment of, yeah, because oh, my ears going again. There's a lot of magic, and it feels like life defining moments happening around the second half of September for you. So it may be coming through this that you realize your personal power, you realize the magic, you realize just how special the people are around you and what that creates, that synergy or that energy creates. But it feels like whatever you witness through this experience, it takes you into a more magical realm of open to possibilities in other areas of your life. You may want to reevaluate your career or the work that you do based on that, because it's like it kind of frees you from limitations in a way, and it makes you want to go back into, like, you know, what is it that you wanted to do as a child? What is it that you wanted to always do and pursue that fearlessly? simplify your life, eliminate clutter from your home, work life to balance. And then we've got protection. You, your loved ones, and your possessions are safe and held and protected by the heavens. I love these messages. They're so new agey, light and fluffy, but you know, we can have a bit of magic, right? I'll just show all those up there. See if there's anything else that comes through. It's interesting that protection card is being placed over the masculine one. And when I was talking about the family energies and being at home and nurtured, so it's like almost this feeling of like being at home and being safe in your surroundings, being protected as, you know, maybe there's chaos going on in the neighborhood or the outside world, but it's knowing that you're all together and that you're safe, secure, and together. But yeah, what was it? Eliminate clutter from your home and work life to balance the flow of activities. There is this feeling that really, yeah, it's like you may want to reevaluate the work that you do. Going back to childhood, what did you want to do? Did you want to sing? Did you want to create? Did you want to dance? You know, did you want to work with, you know, arts or whatever it is? It feels like whatever tests and challenges you've come through and out of, did you want to be a healer? Because we've got the healing heart. You're a powerful healer. Keep up the great work. That to me is also a partnership that heals and soothes the soul. So whatever you're moving throughout September, I feel is giving you a bit of an overhaul of like, what do you want out of life and where do you want to head now, knowing that you have released burdens and restrictions, come out the other side, and it's like you believe in magic again. You believe in your unlimited potential again, in ways that you want to serve yourself and others. Getting back to writing, drawing. I see someone working with colors, with pen at night, writing. So we have, to summarize all, we have the masked owl, insight, wisdom, inner knowing, number 17. And I'll read that one. Interesting. I had an owl visit me earlier in August. I forgot about that. Owl, what was it? Number 17. Let me read from the book here. Owl is thought to be very wise because he sees, hears, and feels things that are invisible to most of us. When the owl flies into your life, he comes with an invitation to remember that you were born with this same wisdom. In normal life, we learn to use our eyes, ears to sense the world around us. Our wisdom shows us that we have quiet voices, pictures, feelings inside. Using your inner eyes, inner ears, we all have the ability to sense what feels right, what feels good, what feels most light in the moment. Trust your owl vision and it will grow. All right, beautiful. I think that brings back a beautiful summary of trust your inner vision, trust that inner child, what feels good for you, what feels right. Going back to that, knowing that you probably, no doubt, been through some incredibly testing times that have not broken you, they've truly made you or broken you, opened the crack open so that you can re-access that light-hearted nature of your true essence, and it was all worth the fight. So I hope that that resonates. I hope that that is some interesting guidance that will support you throughout the month of September, and also some incredible things that are coming through. If you'd like to connect with me, I am doing individual sessions. All the details will be in the description box below. And also, if you'd like to join me on the soul journey for equinox, the details will be also in the description box below. So if not, I'll see you next month as we move on to the lucky last. Moving into C, card C, this artwork here. If you've chosen this one, we'll see what wants to come through. Sorry, I'm just going to grab some water. Been talking for far too long. Okay, card C. The first thing that's come through is recoding your strands of DNA. Bit of blanket term. Recoding your strands of DNA. Looking at your original template, soul blueprint might be important for you this month. I'm seeing architecture almost like a holographic blueprint that's over somebody's body, and it's showing me different pathways and highlighting different lights. Purple, pink, blue. Reevaluating pathways. Decision points coming up, choice points. It feels like you could go in a handful of different ways and you're just assessing to see which feels the best for you in the moment. What yeah, you're reassessing what feels best for you. I feel like I've totally glitched out in that image, sorry. It's like I'm reading different paths or trajectories, but they all ultimately they all connect at the same end point. But there's three different pathways that you could choose to get to that. One is straight, and the others are a bit more curvature, but they feel a bit more full of experience. One feels like a very inward journey that goes straight up, and the other feels like it. The other two feel like they could be more full with rich experiences or people, or not so less isolated perhaps, but they all come to the one point. So you may be evaluating over this month which is the right path for you to choose. And I guess the main message that comes through is there is no wrong choice. Each film will allow you to get to your destination. Ultimately, it's just which pathway of experiences do you want to have along that way. It comes back to the soul blueprint, but there's something about the DNA encoding. There's a changing happening in your biology, in your physical body, which could attribute to a lot of pressure or weird symptoms in the body. It's eye color changing, noticeable changes in, it's like as you go through or have gone through a series of activations within your DNA, it's like more light, more frequencies coming online, and it's changing your physical structure, your biology. It's like I'm seeing someone's eyes changing color, hair, pigment of the skin, like real noticeable physical changes. Working with healing technologies feels like that's something on the pathway. I feel like people working with different types of the cards are coming out. Getting opportunities to work with different healing technologies that work with either sound or frequency or vibration or light or a combination, or this could be an invention or creation of your own. So it might be self-discovery through your own transformation and DNA activation that helps to bring in insight to create either modality or machine or processes, techniques that's going to help people enhance or heal their physical body. Feels very like very futuristic, like very evolutionary jumping kind of concepts, but it's like the baseline. Maybe that's what I was looking at in terms of that blueprint or structure. Maybe that's pertaining to something that you're to bring through, and like you could go at it three different ways, but ultimately you're gonna have the end result. Mm. Or maybe it's a combination of having the three components that weave interweave into one. I mean, there's different ways to look at that, interpret that, right? Mm. So we've got the world card that's come out first, which is rewards, expansion, and destiny. The world is your oyster. The world card also talks about like a change up in your cycle. So having um, moving into a new cycle, like changing trajectory. So going back to the choice points. Being offered a lot of opportunity that once wasn't there. So, oh, goodness me, these cards are coming in hard and fast. um, yeah, it feels to me it feels like being given access to people, mentors, people who have certain level of expertise, who are knowledgeable in their own, whether it's science or physics or healing or whatever it is that they're plasma, working with plasma. Okay, there's a lot of different info coming through. I think these readings are going to be very, very specific to like words to drop in for certain people. So bear with me if it feels a little bit jumping all over the place. I think that's just how there's method in the madness. Having access to people that you potentially didn't have access to before, and resources, people with knowledge and expertise that are going to help get your creation or amplify your creative flow or productivity to be able to get a project off the ground or get a creation off the ground. That's what it feels like to me. And so it's like that the world is your oyster, and it feels like maybe in the previous cycle you've come up a lot against a lot of resistance or come up against a lot of roadblocks or people walking away or not wanting to support you in the ways that you've needed. Feels like a change up in cycle that's occurring, that's allowing you a time and a phase of expansion, but having access to things that you didn't have access to before, almost like stepping up in your level of clearance, if you will. So that's the first card that's come out. The second card is the Ten of Wands. So it's putting down all your burdens. So I feel like they kind of go hand in hand because it feels like the burdens to me represent the past or previous cycle where things haven't fallen into place or have been hard or eluded you or the false starts. It feels like you're now at the precipice of like almost like releasing all that density and debris flying off you and going, yeah, I can understand why that happened. You know, that gave me opportunity to continue to evaluate, reassess, and refine myself to really be ready for when it lands to be all right. Let's go, let's go, let's go. We've got the Nine of Cups, which is relationship bliss. The Nine of Cups is a level of self fulfillment, feeling good about yourself, holding a really beautiful vibration, loving energy, feeling accomplished, feeling as though you being able to access your own rewards. And it's also, it's not, I mean, it could represent a relationship bliss, but I feel like it's more a relationship with self. That, of course, is going to have a positive flow on effect within your own personal relationships too. But it's like that being able to make that shift and that transition within yourself opens you up to a world of possibility, and it is the vibration that is being attracted, that you've been going through this grind. It's almost like this daily grind to refine, 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 and then you've come out the other side of that, to just go, oh, it all makes sense. And it's like that's allowing these new possibilities to come in. So we've got the Ace of Coins, which is career move. So moving into perhaps what I was talking about before, moving into a new space. It could be a promotion in a job. It could have, there's this sort of up leveling in the work that you're doing, having new level of accessibility to things that you didn't before. However that looks for you, I don't know. Tell me. I'm curious. um, but it is necessary to allow yourself to put down the patterns and the burdens of the past and the naysaying that might be in your mental space or from other people, putting that down and laying that to rest for good and seeing it for what it was worth. Everything has purpose, right? Oh. Oh, blessed change. Okay, a major life change brings great blessings. Yes. I love when they all sort of resonate and talk in that story. And I think the thing that stands out for me most in that card is she's upside down. She's actually being able to reassess and see things from a different vantage point because she's gone upside down, to view things from changing their perspective. But that Wayne Dyer quote comes to mind: when you change the way you see things. No, what is it? No, it's gone now. When you change the way you see things, the things that you look at change. Something to that effect. I've just completely butchered that, so I do apologize. But it's shift in perspective and vantage point of maybe seeing the past as you go through that process of releasing the burden, seeing the past from a different vantage point where you can be more empowered and less like you've failed or had missed opportunities, but seeing it as a process of redefining yourself over and over again to be really solid, prepared, and ready for when the opportunity does come. You know, you've already been able to iron out all the misfires or all the kinks in potentially what could have been problematic if you hadn't addressed it or looked at it or sorted that out, whether that's an internal process or it's actually within a creation itself. It's like, yeah, it's now aligning you with the correct timing of things coming into alignment, which creates waves of prosperity. Your abundance and exciting opportunities are washing over you now. I like that. Waves of prosperity. So it's not just like an incoming, it can be from multiple sources. It's like multiple areas, multiple contributors or contracts. Yeah, there's just, it feels like there's these people with expertise. Perhaps you have something of value that you haven't been able to sell or market or get off the ground, then all of a sudden everyone's interested in it. It feels like it's kind of, oh, we got the divine magic card again. Extra magical energy surrounds your situation right now. Expect miracles. So it's really calling in that air of magic and brilliance and allowing that to work with you in your life. Oh, feels exciting. Feels really good. Oh, okay. All right. So we've got the Seven of Coins and the Seven of Cups coming up. So two sevens. We're in a 7 year. One is opportunity, which is the wheel with the question mark. So it's the unknown opportunity. We also have the Seven of Cups, which is decadence and indulgence. I really love that. Interesting combination. I instantly, with those cards, I want to, it's like a cautionary, it's like, don't throw all your eggs in one basket. It's like, I feel like you have multiple streams of opportunity that is coming in. And it's like with the decadence indulgence card, don't indulge in just one area, like leave room to branch out into other areas. Like don't get sort of exclusive into one personal project or whatever it is. With that, it's like leave your options a little bit open because there is that wild card that is unknown yet. So I almost feel like I want to say allow the months to unravel so that you can see all the prospects, and don't, yeah. Oh, we got the star. God, hope, inspiration, things aligning in divine destiny. This is like path, purpose. But yeah, going back to what I wanted to say about that, I feel like allowing the star energy to come in, it might take all month to really allow it to unravel. And I feel like there's just these moments of awe, like disbelief, like, wow, did that just really happen? Wow. Okay. Wow. But it's like, don't jump at the first opportunity that comes in. Allow all of them to show. And maybe that's going back to the original thing. Maybe there is like these different pathways that allowing those opportunities to all present themselves and make your choice or decision of how you can go about doing multiple avenues or interweaving them or choosing the best one that feels right for you. Because it feels like this is a big creation in the making for you. It feels like this is not something that's just like coming overnight and you've been working hard towards this. So you want to make the most of how that is unraveling and unfolding for you. Mm. It's like a stillness or a presence or a pause, go into contemplation. Maybe just taking some time out for yourself, whether it's taking time in your own energy, going away, overnight or for the weekend. It feels like by doing that will give you the clarity if you're unsure of which way to head, which way to go. If there's any more that want to come out. What, these cards aren't talking. Oops. Oh. Okay, two more. We have the Empress and we have the, yeah, reflection card. Okay. So we have the Six of Cups, which is reflection. So that's that feeling that I was saying is like go allow yourself to go um out of your normal surroundings, out of your normal environment, giving yourself the space of reflection, evaluation, innovation. It's like a time to recuperate and be really reflective. It's like this. You might even want to get like paper and pen and kind of explore different possibilities and be with that. But it's like in that space of reflection, your answers will come. And we've got the Empress card, which is fertility, sensuality. It's all about ripe, fertile moments of being able to birth new creation. So there's a lot of creational energy that's coming in and around. I think it's always been there, but it feels like there's a magnitude or amplification of that because you're going to want to be able to take all that with you, moving it into this kind of actualization phase of this path or project, this work, it feels like life, life's purposeful work, soul work. And it also feels, I almost want to say like lifetime's worth of work. So it could be something like some sort of innovative thing that's come through that you've worked on bit by bit to refine, but it feels like you've mastered this in many lifetimes. And now with these, having access to these resources or these people that open up opportunity for you to somehow like have it bigger exposure or market it or, you know, put in where it needs to go. It's almost like as you connect with those people, they're of the similar frequency of you. Like you may have like done that work together. Hmm. Got two that have come out, but I'm going to go with both of them. We've got mountain gorilla and we've got polar bear, number 9 and number 3, just to finish off this this card, this reading here. And I'm going to read from the book because, as I said, these are not cards that I am that familiar with. But we'll start with number 3, the polar bear. So the polar bear says, "Believe in the power of your dreams." Sometimes when you first try something new, it might feel like you're all alone. But polar bear comes in with a message to trust the call of your heart. You're stronger than you know. You'll be guided along the way, and you'll meet friends and helpers in places you couldn't imagine. Oh, I love that. That's really that really just brings in what we've been talking about. And the mountain gorilla, so reflection, respect, and inner calm. What does the mountain gorilla want to talk to us about? Amidst fast pace and busyness of life, the gorilla invites you to take a deep breath and take some time to think about the things you really love in your life. If there are challenges around you, there's no need to get upset by them. Gorilla takes a calm approach. Before swinging into action, take some time to feel into your body. What will make you the most happy? Respect the wisdom of your elders and ask them for help if you're not sure what to do. They will always be there for you. Okay. So taking that time, feeling into your body. And I think the biggest takeaway from that is feeling into your body because the intelligence of your body knows. It knows what feels good for you, what is safe, what is, and your body also knows what's not good for you and, what is in a misalignment. So take this time this month. It feels like there's some really big breakthroughs and some really big changes that you absolutely deserve because of the hard work that you've been putting in. So just congratulations and enjoy the unfolding and take your time in making those choices and decisions. So thank you so much for watching. I am doing individual sessions if you feel like you want to connect with me. The details will be in the description box. And of course, if you want to join the September Equinox Soul Journey, the details will be there. If not, have an incredible September and I look forward to connecting with you next month. And just sending much love your way. All right. Bye, everyone.